If you really want to get a sense of being alone, then come to this Californian beach. It's just absolutely wild and you just feel so remote. It's wonderful. This is Abbott's Lagoon and it's a brilliant walk to do if you're in Northern California and if you go to Point Reyes. There's driftwood everywhere washed up, like here. Shells and different types of seaweed and crab shells and bones and all sorts of things. So I'm going to go and have a little look and see what the tide has washed out. There's that little house over there. Let's go and see if there's anybody in it. Great, isn't it? It's a lovely little shelter. Crab shell outside. Sitting here and you've got a perfect view out to sea. It's even got a little gun. Beautiful. A seaside property here. I wonder where this comes from. It's about the first piece of plastic I've seen on this beach. It really is otherwise so clean. Well, I've just seen something over here that looks really interesting, and this looks like a bit of whalebone, I think. Oh my goodness, just look at this. Wow, it's huge. That is definitely bone from a very large whale, I think. It can't be anything else, can it? Just look at that. It's the first time I've come across a whalebone. It looks like a bit of whale vertebrae, doesn't it? What a find. Gosh, it's so big. So heavy as well. Oh, that really is something else. And that's what it looks like from the other side. Look at that. I'm fascinated with this because we don't generally come across whale bones on beaches back in England. Well, not in Cornwall anyway. or in London. And so to see a large part of a whale vertebra, I think that's what it is, or vertebrae, that's quite exciting. Isn't that lovely? Sand dollar. But I think this is well, very possibly a pelican bone from some unfortunate pelican, and it's so light. There's some huge pieces of wood washed up on the beach, including this one, and I just noticed that it's got a little round disc on it with some lettering on it, which might indicate where it's washed up from, whether it's fallen off a ship or something. It came off really easily. So we might be able to find out where it's come from. So it's got Pacific wood something 1983, is that? Something something. So I'm going to have a look at that when I get back. Google it and see if we can find out where this great big log has washed up from. And this, which I really love. I just love this weed. I think it's a ball something. Is it ball kelp or ball weed, or I'm not sure, but just look at it, isn't it amazing? Oh, look at that. Some more massive mussels here. Last year I hiked over here to Abbott's Lagoon, despite there being a big poster about a mountain lion, which terrified the life out of me, and I put a little message in a jar in this log, and I was hoping to find it still here this year because I didn't hear from the person who possibly found it. So unless it's buried right at the end of this log, it's gone anyway. So I do have another little note here with a few facts about the River Thames and various links to this area. And so I'm going to place it in here, and hopefully somebody will find it pretty soon. And whoever does, if you get in touch with me, you get the opportunity to win a little piece of London history. So here I am, putting it in this little log, not very far in this time, and I hope to hear from somebody at some point. So it's down at Abbott's Lagoon, great big log, you can't miss it. Here we go. Okay, that's all from me. Over and out. So I'm leaving my little message in a jar in the good hands of this heron guard here. Little sentry. Now last year he was also here. Ah, he looks the same anyway. Maybe it's his brother. Now, I've just come down the road from Abbott's Lagoon, and up here in this tree is a rather... Ooh, did you hear that? A rather glorious great horned owl, just up there. Ooh, he's stretching his wing. Hello! And the other day I came down here and picked up some owl pellets, so I knew that he was going to be here probably because it looks like quite a regular perch. Oh, look at that, isn't he gorgeous? Now, what I've realised is that actually there's two owls up there. One of them is plainly in view and the other one is slightly behind the branches. And then just up to the left, there's another one. You might be able to just see the movement. Just there. There's another one there. Right underneath, of course, is where you're going to find the owl pellets. And there are some beautiful ones here. Just look at that. The little pellets that they excrete out of their mouth. Full of little mice bones, rat bones, beaks and little skulls, everything that the owl is eating at night, and then when they're roosting they're sort of spitting it all out. everyone, I want to do a little roundup of some of the objects which I found on the beach at Abbott's Lagoon. And I'm going to start with these tags here. Now this one is marked with Pacific Wood Treating Corp, Ridgefield, Washington, and it's got a date of 1983. And this company was in operation from 1964 to 1993 when it filed for bankruptcy. And unfortunately, it left a legacy of pollution. I was reading about the company, which used to make, or rather treat, Douglas fir timbers that were to be used for playground structures, public parks and backyards, that kind of thing. But unfortunately, they used some really strong chemicals which had a significant environmental sort of impact, and they were told that they wouldn't have their permits renewed if they didn't sort of prevent this pollution. So unfortunately, in 1993, they filed for bankruptcy, and it was left to the Washington State Department of Ecology and the Port of Ridgefield to clean it up. And it seems that they must have taken an awful long time to clear up the damage which these chemicals left, because they were due to be cleaned up by 2011. And so given that they went into bankruptcy in 1993, that's an awful long time. So I have to say, it still does really smell. The back of this tag, which was against the log, does really smell. It's got like a creosote sort of smell, and that log really smelt of it too, so I can well imagine that what they were using on the wood was very high in pollutants. So interesting story there about the impact of pollution on the environment. Now this tag here, when I started to look it up, I came across a picture of a similar one, but pink, that was found by some Boy Scouts at Pirates Cove in Marin County. And they were told that it's a buoy tag issued by the California Department of Fish and Wildlife for permit holders of Dungeness crab pots. So the Dungeness crab commercial fisheries use the tags to mark the buoys of each of their traps to show they're fishing within their trap limits. So this one is still sort of in date, so it must have come loose from the crab pot because it's valid from 2019 to 2021. So there's a crab pot out there which is missing its permit, so that's what that is. So these two tags, was able to find out something about them, which always makes it kind of intriguing and interesting when you get back and you get to look up something and find out the story behind the items that you find. I've also got some information which I've jotted down about great horned owl pellets, which I enjoyed picking up as well. Now these owls, great horned owls, often ingest they often ingest larger prey, which requires that they break the bones of the prey to swallow them. So their pellets are often chalky because of the broken bones and more porous. And as a side note, the great horned owl is considered to be one of the most voracious of all raptors. I greatly enjoyed filming those owls. They're just so expressive with their eyes. You can only imagine the terror of the mice or the birds that it swoops down to pick up, but they really are beautiful creatures. What else? Sand dollars. We don't get those in the UK very often, not that I've found anyway. And they're also known as sea cookies, sand cakes, sand urchins, snapper biscuits, and they are a species of flattened burrowing sea urchins. So that's just a few bits of information about some of the objects which I found. And I had a great time. That beach was absolutely fantastic, so wild and remote, and for me, I just love that. I could literally go and live on that beach, I think. And I had a great time. So thank you very much for watching, and don't forget, if you happen to find that little glass jar in the tree trunk, get in touch and you may just win a little clay pipe. So thank you, and see you again soon.
you.